right hit and run driver.
From the
This is a
screen
bust. Stinky cat.
There's no show out there quite like Cowboy Bebop. It's witty and it's beautiful and it's also surprisingly wholesome. What the fuck? It is also definitely one of my all-time favorite shows. But I used to fucking hate it. It was so bad that I actually couldn't bring myself to watch it physically, and it got to the point where I took on a self-help book instead, which is quite cringe if you think about it. But one day I got back home exhausted from sports, but instead of sleeping like a normal guy, I opened Netflix and I binged Cowboy Bebop until sunrise. And I'm not lying, but watching it at that time, like at the time where I felt exhausted, makes me feel this unforgettable euphoria. Right here was the moment that cemented my love for the show. And now I've basically Pavloved this response, so anytime I watch the show, I watch Bebop, I get that same feeling again. But then this made me realize, was I watching Cowboy Bebop for the actual plot, or was I just chasing this feeling? And now that I think of it, I've never really paid that much attention to any show's plot. Like, maybe this is totally normal, like, for you guys, but just to be sure, I'm making this video to figure out why. Neon Genesis Evangelion? Neon Genesis Evangelion. Neon Genesis Evangelion is more depressing than it is cozy. But you know what? Let's just forget about that first part. I actually watched Evangelion before I had this whole Pavlovian response, but believe me when I say this show's all about the feels, baby. Because after my weekend binge of Evangelion, I literally can't recall a single thing about it. This is not a joke. Like, at the late half of Evangelion, my brain shut down. Like, actually, it shut fucking down. And all the show did to retain me at the time was to pander to my primordial desires, which is cool anime robot. Also, funny thing, I actually thought those were tears in Shinji's hands because I was too zoned out trying to comprehend like the last 26 episodes. But actually, it wasn't tears. It's way fucking worse. And I'm totally not in the wrong here because confusion and Evangelion are basically inseparable from each other. In fact, being confused is part of the quintessential Evangelion experience. But actually knowing that I finished the show, despite not understanding half the plot, means that it had to have something that hooked me in, right? And that something is this wholesome, warm feeling inside of me. You know, boys, if I were to describe my vibe and aura as a human being, as a TV show, I would never ever say Evangelion. Evangelion is super depressing and sad and bleak, and it's definitely not the type of show you want to be putting stickers on in the back of your laptop. But somehow, this show right here just keeps on giving me a reason to watch it, and that is because somewhere deep in the show's thought-provoking depiction of existential dread and sadness, there is that tiny glimmer of hopefulness that I think people relate to a lot. And that's how the show tackles its philosophy that makes it so special than the other shows that came out during the time. It tackles topics that are too early for teenagers to understand, but they have to, and it asks all the interesting questions many are afraid to ask, like do people love me because of myself? Or because I have seed from in Raid Shadow Legends. Like most of you people, Shinji Ikari is just a confused guy looking to get some wasions. But as confused as Shinji is, he is definitely struggling. And his struggle with purpose and existence is more sad than relatable. But for some people, they find comfort in these things. And yeah, for most of the show, it's all about that. It's all about the feels. A sophisticated plot and a bunch of cool mechs and robots isn't really necessary, because quite frankly, they're only there so they sell more merchandise. The thing is, the feeling portrayed in Evangelion is what matters, and that alone transcends the whole setting it was in.
Welcome home.
Morning. So, how you feeling?
I'm gonna go on another 5-minute yap session.
Well, man, you're psycho.
I think I said this like 10 times already in this channel, but I really love Cyberpunk. So I came into this with a little bit of bias. Also, I watched the show before I properly got into anime, and at that time I thought anime was kinda cringe. So I kinda feel ashamed of watching this TV show. I even still feel ashamed now. Have you noticed that I actually refer to the animes in this video as TV shows? So even before watching what could be my favorite show ever, I had all the reasons that made me want to dislike it. But then this fucking song came on, like, what the This song is so good, bro. I swear to God. Except for certain plot points, I have little to no understanding of the show's narrative. Like, trust me, I just don't. But it still surprises me that this show right here is one of my favorite shows ever. Like Evangelion, if I didn't watch it for the plot, then I think I was hooked by a feeling that the show presents itself from the very beginning. David Martinez's fight for his ambitions and romance in a dark and bleak city is such a great dynamic for a story. Coming into the show, I knew that Martinez is cooked. But even though I knew that, it felt like the plot brings a sort of hopefulness to his depressing fate. Like, the show really did a great job on making me genuinely hope that Martinez was gonna live by the end, but actually he didn't, and it shocked me either way, which is kind of crazy. Martinez's story is one that is riddled with broken dreams and promises, but it is also a story about love and ambitions. This subtle balance of hope and melancholy was what made many people drawn to the anime, and each and every episode of Cyberpunk Edgerunners, there's always just this perfect balance of joy and dread, and it just makes me feel some special way. But as much as I talk about how I like the feel of a show, this should not be the sole criteria of how you watch and judge anything. Shows must be understood, because at the end of the day, you watch shows for the narrative, and sometimes feelings are distracting you from the objective truth that is the content. Feelings are biased. But on the contrary, what is also as important is that stories aren't just meant to be told. For a story to be good, it has to play with the audience's feelings and expectations. Narrative is just another tool to deliver the show's actual product, and the actual product is the feeling. If you're a critic, it would be just freaking boring to just judge a movie based on the objective plot. That'll make you like a cookie cutter, bland critic. A good critic, on the other hand, is one that has some level of subjectivity, that incorporates his personal biases towards the show, that gives their reviews some uniqueness. So this sort of becomes the chicken and egg dilemma, that the feeling or the plot comes first, and what do people actually enjoy from TV shows? And like the original, there is no definite answer, because each side can make good arguments to why, but I'm not here to argue, guys. I'm here to finish this goddamn video. So let's circle back to Bebop. You know, Cowboy Bebop came in at the perfect time in my life. There's one important thing I took from that show. You are gonna carry that weight. The quote is open to many interpretations, and there are many interpretations out there, and some even better than mine, but I just wanted to share what it really meant for me. Cowboy Bebop tells us that the past is what forced you to become the version you are today. No matter how hard you try to run away from it, the past will always catch up to you somewhere down the road. And in a show where everyone is trying to let go of their past, the best resolution the Bebop crew got are actually the ones where they confronted their past head on, which is kind of ironic. And it's okay to run away from the past. It's totally okay. But there's always that option, an even harder one, but a courageous one. An option where we should willingly confront it. And whatever happens after we confront this past is not of any value to us. Jet was betrayed, Faye was left lonely, and Spike died. But if you come out alive at the end of it, you are gonna carry that weight.
I'm not going there to die. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive. Bang.